Yo, what's up, guys? We're back for another breakdown and predictions video, and today we got Dana White Contender Series Week 3. We're going to be giving you guys the full card breakdown and predictions for this fight card, and we're coming off a 5 for 5 last week on the Contender Series, so hopefully we can bring that into this week, and we did really good on the bets last week, man. We won on UFC, we won on the PFL, pretty good bet with Impa Song and I round 3. So go to patreon.com/MMA PredictionGuru, support the channel, get access to early content for UFC and Dana White Contender Series, and then get other promotions, predictions, and bets, and help support the channel, like I said. So definitely sign up over there at Patreon, make yourself some money. But let's get into this first fight of the night, man. We got Darion Abbey. He's going to be taking on Dante Johnson. And Darion Abbey, this guy is a giant heavyweight. He's 6'6". He has an ugly record. He's 7-4, but he's won his last 3 fights in a row. He's only 32, so he's a young guy for heavyweight, and he's teamed up with Killcliff, so that camp has kind of gotten more professional for him in his approach and kind of leveled him up. His career's been a little crazy because he can't say no to a fight, and he's had a lot of kickboxing fights, bare knuckle fights. It seems like after he was 3-3 in MMA, he thought maybe kickboxing was the better route, and he had success in kickboxing, and then he had a couple bare knuckle MMA fights. He got the win in those, and I think that gave him confidence to make another run in MMA. And now he's on the doorstep of the UFC. He won a couple regional belts. He beat Alex Nicholson, who's a UFC veteran, with the first round knockout. But this is a big step up and test for Abbey. His opponent is Dante Johnson, who is bumping up to heavyweight here for a chance at a UFC contract. He's normally a 205er, and he just fought July 27th for Fury FC, where he weighed in at 204.6 pounds. So you'd think he's going to be like 210, 220. He's had fights at heavyweight before, and he's weighed in as low as 210, and he's never been over 220 on the scales. So he's going to be small in there, especially against a 6'6" monster. But he is 5-0 with 5 first-round knockouts, and he has the equalizer with his knockout power. But style-wise, both these guys are more stand-up. Darion Abbey, technical kickboxer. He comes in good shape, and he moves well. He's fast. He tries to keep it sharp with his offense. He feints. He looks to work kicks, and he's subtle with his pressure, and then he'll try to land the straights down the middle. He is decent at mixing his punches up. He'll attack the body. He'll sometimes explode with hooks too, but he can be flat-footed. He's a bit of a plotter, and he tends to rely on fighters to come to him, and he could struggle versus fast fighters because defensively he doesn't really move his head. He drops his hands. But when he's the faster guy and he can force fighters to close that distance and snipe them from the outside, he's difficult to deal with. And he is someone that can endure damage and wear it pretty well. Like, he'll get dropped. He's able to survive and come back to win. He's done that in multiple fights. But Tim Johnson did put him to sleep in 2024, and he's been stopped with strikes in 3 of his 4 pro losses. He also got knocked down 4 or 5 times against Patrick Martin in February, and he came back to win. And then he fought about 7 weeks later, which is crazy, but got a quick knockout in the first round in that one and didn't have to take any damage. But now he's coming back, pretty quick again. So he's been very active this year, and we'll see if that helps him. But he doesn't tend to wrestle. He will when he gets rocked or someone just closes the distance for him and makes it, very easy for him to get the takedown. And he is tricky with his length on the floor, but I just don't see him being able to get the fight to the ground in this fight. Lockjaw Dante Johnson, this guy's a fun fighter to watch. He's super explosive. He's powerful. Even though he only has one good win, really, he did beat James Ford, who I rate pretty highly. He hasn't been past 5 minutes as a pro, but we have seen him go 15 minutes in an amateur title fight in 2023. And the dynamic of this fight is going to look crazy because Johnson is going to be really short in there. and Abby is super tall and lengthy, but Johnson is very fast twitch. He's deceptively explosive. Good job working his way into range and then hammering huge power hooks, uppercuts in combination. He has concussive power. He isn't afraid to just full send it. And he does a good job moving around, using his speed, pulling fighters into his shots. And he has short range power, and then he has power at distance, pulling you into strikes as well. It seemed like in his one fight that went longer, he used a clinch and dirty boxing and kind of had to rest a lot to make it through the full distance. He even hit some takedowns later in the fight. But ultimately, that was when he was not in the greatest shape. Now you can see he's gotten in much better condition. And I think even if the fight gets extended, unless Johnson just goes crazy and has an adrenaline dump or punches himself out and can't get the finish, I think that he is probably going to be able to last longer in the fight. He had a fight with Ryan Parker, who is fairly similar to Abby, and it was competitive in the first rounds, but Parker got knocked out cold in the final few seconds of the round. Johnson, I think, is very likely to put Abby to sleep here. It's heavyweight, so anything can happen on the feet, but Johnson's just faster. He hits harder. He throws decent combinations. And Abby's there to be had. I think that left hand's going to land. Abby's the more technical striker, but it really doesn't matter at heavyweight at a certain point. And I think that he's not going to be able to get it to the ground or anything like that. So he has a puncher's chance, but I see Johnson getting the first round knockout in the first fight of the night. And up next here, we got a high-level matchup. This is a matchup that I actually think should be the main event. But we got two guys that could already potentially be in the UFC already, with Christian Perez 13-1, currently on a 5-fight winning streak. And he has some solid victories as well. He's competed exclusively for Combate. His opponent, Manuel Souza, 12-1. He's fought for PFL. He's fought for Bellator. He's gone 2-1 in those promotions. And he lost a decision to Archie Colgan in his one career loss, who's one of the best fighters outside the UFC at 155 pounds. He came back in March. He fought in Brazil at LFA 205. He won a hard-fought decision in that one. And now he's trying to get into the UFC. I think he had an issue and parted ways with PFL because he won his last, I think he lost his last fight to Archie Colgan. But regardless, he didn't end up going over and continuing to be with them, and now he's going to try to sign to the UFC. For Perez, he hasn't fought in a while. He hasn't fought since December of 2023, but I've seen he's over there at the PI in Mexico, and he's someone that these guys are trying to groom and turn into a good fighter, so I think he's going to be ready to go. And Christian Perez, he started off a karate guy, I think, but he has good boxing and good pressure. He keeps his hands in the right spot defensively. Nice lead hand offense. He's good at hand fighting. You'll land jabs, lead hooks, body head. He'll land the overhand right. He follows it up well with the left hook. And he's good at doubling up attacks from the same side. Like, he'll go double right hand. We saw him do that and get a knockout over Bruno Canetti. He'll throw a 1-2 or a straight overhand right, and then he follows that with the head kick from the same side. And he's good at mixing in leg kicks, body kicks. His pressure is on point. And he's gotten a little more dangerous in the pocket, but in this fight, I think it's all about using his footwork, using his leg kicks and jab, and keeping Souza on the back, not really on the back foot, but just keeping him at bay. And if you can pressure him and kind of pick and pull him, that would be the best case scenario. But even if you have to be lateral and go backwards, just don't be a static target for your opponent here in this fight. And his knees, elbows are nice. I think that even on the inside, he can be dangerous. It's just he has to minimize just brawling it out in the pocket with a guy like Manuel Souza. And you look at Perez, he does have slick grappling. He's confident. I mean, you'll see him when he fought Bruno Canetti, he immediately Iminori rolled and got in on a leg lock, and nothing really came out of it, but it was smooth, and you could tell that doing it right away, he showed confidence. He will catch kicks and get takedowns that way as well, but in this fight, I think he's going to be at a physicality disadvantage, and I just believe that it's going to be difficult for him to get that wrestling going and actually get it to the mat. If he can get it on the ground, he has good back takes. He has 5 rear naked chokes, so If he can take the back, he is dangerous. But it's likely going to be a stand-up fight if he has success in this one. And you look at Manel Souza, this guy's a powerhouse. He has incredible knockout power in both hands. And he likes to put the pressure on guys. He uses a low and long bladed stance so he could explode in and out. He darts in and out with heat, and he does a good job feigning and then coming in with a lead hook or rear cross, overhand. He'll switch stance, try to use switch stance blitz attacks. And he isn't super technical, but he's explosive. He can close the gap quickly, and he's in good enough shape to keep tracking down his opponent until he clips them. In order to beat Souza, you have to pot shot him on the outside, weather the storm, and if he slows down, you can start to pressure him, but he stays dangerous. And you can outpoint him, but you just have to be smart because he does kind of have a lot of periods of inactivity. And I think kicks are a major way to get to Souza, leg kicks, jabs. And like I said, the name of the game with Souza is patience because he's going to hold his hands low. He's going to try to bait you. He's going to walk you down and try to get you to stand stationary. And if opponents of Souza can kind of work the footwork game, throw jabs, throw leg kicks, keep him at bay, they can make him swing at air and frustrate Souza. But Manel Souza, I think, should be the better wrestler in this fight. He's a more physical fighter, but he doesn't really search for takedowns. His last fight, he did more of it, but I think it's just because his opponent was just backing himself up to the fence and standing there and letting Souza just easily take him down. But Perez is going to be a moving target. I don't think he's going to stand along the fence, so it's probably not going to give Souza that many openings to hit takedowns. But Souza, if he does get on top, he's going to look for the Kimura. He has 2 Kimuras. He has 1 Americana, so his arm locks are dangerous. And then he's difficult to hold down, too. He's just a ball of muscle, so if he does get taken down, he's probably just going to bounce right back up. And one thing that I do like about him is his conditioning is on point. Like, he does a good job of fighting in bursts. He knows when to rest, so it makes him stay dangerous for the whole fight. And he tries to start fights fast, and then he puts the foot on the gas to end fights too. And this is the only fight I think is kind of 50-50 on the card. Christian Perez is the superior striker to me in terms of overall offensive skill set, and I think he has better equal grappling. For Manel Souza, he just has the equalizer with his one-punch knockout power, and he may be able to kind of just push Perez against the cage or take him down and control him. If you look at Perez's one loss in his career, he did get taken down and held down. But I think Perez is sharp, uses low kicks, jabs, stays defensively responsible, sharp shoots. He can take a decision, and I'm going to go with the underdog here in Perez to get the victory. If Souza wins, I think he's probably going to catch him in a knockout, or it's going to be a fight where he exposes Perez's defensive wrestling and just holds him against the fence or is actually able to put him on his back. But I don't think he's going to do much with the wrestling if that's the type of fight that we get. So hopefully it's a stand-up fight, and I'm going to go with Perez via decision. And this next fight, we got a 205-pound fight between Alik Lorenz and Abdulrahman Yakayev. And Alik Lorenz, he's being fed to Yakayev here. He's on a 5-fight win streak. He is 6-1, but he hasn't really faced the greatest opposition. And Yakayev looks like a pretty good prospect. Lorenz, he's been fighting for LFA, and he's been getting finishes, so he has a serviceable resume, and at 205 with knockout power, anyone has a shot. But Abdurrahman Yakayev, he looks like one of the best wrestlers on this year's Contender Series. He's undefeated at 6-0. He's the Aries FC 205-pound champion, and he's also a champion in another promotion called Con Fight, where he beat an 11-2 judo black belt over 5 rounds. All his other fights were only less than 5 minutes, so that was good to see that he can go the full 25-minute distance and get a victory. But if he performs to his optimal, you'd think he's going to get a victory and a finish in this matchup here. You look at Yakayev, he is a guy that wants to be all the way in or all the way out. He will move around, be evasive. He'll force fighters to come to him and then slip and strike. And he's good at crashing the distance and clinching up. His last fight he did put some better combinations together. He put his opponent on the fence, then took him down. So his striking looked improved in that fight. His combinations looked solid. In other fights, his stand-up looked a little bit weak and sloppy. So it's hard to know exactly how good he is on the feet, and he needs to work on his entries. But when he's able to get into the clinch, he's gotten easy takedowns in everyone that he's fought. He gets trips, he gets slams. His entries can be a little sloppy, like I said, but no one's been able to stop his takedowns when he gets a hold of them. And on top, he takes what you give him. In his one fight that went to decision, he fought a judo black belt who obviously could grapple himself, and Yakev was able to get the takedowns, and he just stayed in full mount or half guard for the most part and just blanketed his opponent for 25 minutes. It was boring, but he showed good fight IQ, he showed position over submission, and he showed ability to win minutes. And in the other fights that he's had, when he's fought lesser grapplers that have given their backs or given their necks to try to stand up, he's been able to get quick submissions. He's gotten a couple rear naked chokes, or one rear naked choke, He's gotten one guillotine and one triangle. So 3 different submissions that he's gotten. He's also gotten 2 ground and pound stoppages. And it's been a year since he's been in action. But he's known about this fight since April, so he should be in good shape. And you look at Alik Lorenz, he's not going to be intimidated by being the underdog here. He trains with a great camp at the MMA lab. He comes forward, he's always throwing heat, and he looks to push the pace. He's a hard kicker. He'll throw heavy kicks, front kicks up the middle, leg kicks. He has nice straights. He has good power, good speed. His offense is impressive. He's a fun fighter to watch. Defensively, he leaves a lot of openings. He went to war with Ryan Parker and took a lot of punishment against a guy that's not really the most impressive fighter. And his wrestling defense doesn't look the greatest. I've seen him taken down by low-level guys, and he gives his back to stand up. I feel as if he's going to have major issues with the wrestling and grappling skill of Yakaev, and it's going to be a big problem for him if he gets taken down. So ultimately, that's what makes this a difficult fight for him in the long run, because I just don't think he's at that level on the ground. And he's a tough guy. He has good striking, but I think this is a first-round submission for Yakev more than likely. 1 takedown, 1 back take, and he could probably finish the fight. If Lorenz can survive, the longer that he has on the feet, the better shot he has to land that bomb. So I think he wants to try to extend the fight too, because Yakev just doesn't have a lot of hard fights where people have put up resistance to his wrestling. So if Lorenz could be the first guy to do that, maybe he could expose Yakev of being kind of weak mentally or something like that. But at the end of the day, I think Yakev is going to go out there and get that first-round submission. And keeping it rolling, we got what should be a sick action fight right here between Marcio Barbosa and Damon Wilson. Both these guys are super fun to watch. You got Marcio Barbosa, who's 27 years old. He's a Brazilian fighter. He's 16-2, so stellar record. And he's a knockout artist. I mean, he's coming into this fight behind 3 first-round knockouts. And overall, he has 15 first-round knockouts. He has 13 knockouts in the first round and 15 finishes. He's 1-2 in fights that have gone past the first round. So when he can't finish you early, he's kind of iffy proposition. But, the guy is super dangerous. And Damon Wilson, he's been in Cage Warriors for years, so he's a pretty recognizable fighter. He's 9-2 overall himself, and he's on a 3-fight win streak, so he has an impressive resume as well. And he trains out of Alliance MMA, which is one of the better gyms in recent memory. He has 5 first-round knockouts of his own, and he's won his last 2 fights in round 1 with knees, so that's always a fun finish. And I anticipate that Wilson may want to look to wrestle and extend this fight, but if he goes out there looking to kill or be killed, it could become a barn burner. And Marcio Barbosa, this guy has incredible knockout power. He's very explosive. He's fast twitch. He wanes in a range with big power hooks. He's good at staying tight with his defense, backing guys up to the fence, and then working punches and bunches. He is really fast. He'll attack the body. He'll attack the head. He pours the volume on really well. And he stays very tight with his punches. The guy is actually a pretty technical boxer. And his hand speed is super good, and he just sits in the pocket and exchanges. So if you can find his chin, you can get him out of there, but it's a lot easier said than done to land in between the hammers that Marcio Barbosa is throwing. And Barbosa's last loss came against Gabriel Santos, who's a beast and in the UFC, obviously thriving. And he missed weight for that fight as well, so he may have just not had the best preparation either. But he threw everything but the kitchen sink at Santos. He had him extremely hurt, and Gabriel Santos was able to get his wrestling going to survive the first round. And then at the start of the second, he landed a head kick right away at the beginning of the round that just ended the fight. So it was kind of crazy. But the way for Damon Wilson to defeat Barbosa, I think, is more likely to take him down. So Barbosa just has to have his takedown defense on point here in this fight. Damon Wilson on the feet is vulnerable in this type of matchup. He's a guy who holds his hands low. He likes to use his speed, bounce around, look to be evasive, and then explode in with power or a blast double. And he has nice body punches. He'll feint level changes, come up with really nice uppercuts. He has good dirty boxing. He'll shoe shine the body really well inside, and his knees are nasty and only getting better. So the guy's striking is really effective and dangerous as well, but I just think that he leaves too many openings, and I think that it could be a bit of an issue for him on the feet against someone that hits as hard as Barbosa. But the issue with Wilson is sometimes he isn't great at holding fighters down. Even though he has a nice double leg, I think it's going to be hard for him to control Barbosa. If he can mat return Barbosa a few times, gas him out, and maybe try to extend the fight past the first, you could see him begin to take over because his conditioning is pretty impressive. But I just think this fight is under 1.5 rounds written all over it. These guys are going to clash in the middle, and I don't see either backing down. Damon Wilson maybe will look to fight more conservatively if he's smart, but eventually he's going to fall back on his natural instincts. He's going to throw his cards on the table. He's going to gamble it out. And I think Damon is going to get knocked out here. Barbosa just has too much power. Perfect matchup for him, in my opinion. And I think he's going to win via first round knockout. And finally, we got the last fight on the card, the feature bout between Trent Miller and Ryan Gondra. And two guys that I think are fun to watch. I'm not necessarily sure they're the highest level, but it's going to be a good fight. Gondry 7-1. He's on a 6-fight winning streak. And this is the first time he's taking his show on the road and fighting outside of Brazil. He's 30 years old. His last 2 fights were for LFA in Brazil, so he's been looking better and better. He's been up in his level of competition. And he's getting a switch up here. He was going to fight another Brazilian guy. Now he's taking on an American wrestler. So he can't say no to an opportunity like the Contender Series, but it is a different kind of opponent for him, so hopefully he's ready for the switch up. And in his way is going to be the 29-year-old Extreme Couture product, Trent Miller. Trent Miller is 8-2. He's won back-to-back fights, and he's stepping up in class here to fight Ryan Gondra. He's fought for some solid promotions. He's beaten some okay opponents, but this is definitely far and away, I believe, the best guy that he's fought. And he's taking it on short notice, but he was going to fight for Tough Enough August 23rd, so he should be in shape, I feel like. And he's kind of the recipient of good luck because he trains in Vegas. He's already had his medicals and license and everything ready to go. And he's an entertaining style as well. So he has nothing to lose here, and he's going to come in swinging for the fences. Ryan Gondra, he's gotten himself in way better shape over his career. If you go back and you watch his fight where he got knocked out, he was chubby, he was out of shape. Now when you see him, he's fit, he's ripped, and that's what's helped his mobility and speed significantly and made him a better fighter. He's an aggressive striker. He wants to walk opponents down, look to slip and rip with counters. He finds opportunities to explode in with power hooks from different angles. He's good at attacking the body. His kicks are improved. He's fast. He's a pretty sharp stand-up fighter offensively. Defensively, he has a solid high guard. He has good speed. Sometimes he can kind of just plod into range without throwing anything. And if you are fast enough or have good timing, you can land on Gondra, get in, get out, pot shot him. But if you do that for long enough, he will get aggressive, Gondra, and try to just walk you down and throw heat with power punches. And he's clearly getting better and better. He's a pretty technical, athletic power hitter. And 3 knockout wins. and 5 finishes out of 7 victories. So most of the time when he wins, it's been inside the distance so far in his career. And he isn't a great wrestler or anything, but he can draw out, defend, and reverse opponents' takedowns with pressure. He did get taken down in an LFA fight he had, and he had his back taken, but he showed good composure, good defense. He was fighting a black belt who ran his own jiu-jitsu gym, and he was able to use a really explosive slam to get his opponent off of his back, and his ground and pound is pretty brutal. His last fight, he fought a strong wrestler. He D'd up his takedowns. He finished him as well. He hasn't had a fight that's gone long in a while. His one decision he won in 2023, it got pretty sloppy, but hopefully his gas tank is better for this fight if need be. But Trent Miller is not a cardio guy either. And Trent Miller, shorter, more compact and powerful guy. He's a wrestler, heavy-handed. He has a wide base, but it gives him power, and he has decent side-to-side movement. You'll try to pull fighters into big punches over the top. He'll explode in with the overhands, crosses, power kicks. It looks stiff, but he hits hard, and I would say he's underrated because he's patient. He's going to stay in there, and he will land some okay counters. He really exposes himself, though, when he gets wild with his punches, and he could slow down and just isn't the fastest guy in general. He struggles with kicks as well, and that's what I think Andre needs to use. He has to set them up because Miller will try to take him down off of the kicks, but leg kicks, especially for Gondra, I think are going to be there. And Miller's decent on the feet, but he's up against it because of the athleticism disadvantage, I feel like. And Trent Miller, if he wants success in this fight, outside of potentially just landing a bomb, I think he has to get takedowns. He doesn't shed his shots up well, but he will try to catch kicks or shoot a blast double. He's a fairly strong scrambler, and he is a physical fighter. On top, he has an effective top game. He has pretty good submissions. If Gondra shoots on Miller, his guillotine is also dangerous, but I doubt that Gondra is going to shoot any takedowns. If Miller does end up on bottom, he's basically a 0, so if Gondra does put him on his back, he's going to be in trouble, and his cardio is an issue. He does slow down, but he's able to fight through fatigue fairly well. But ultimately, I just think Ryan Gondra via knockout is the play here. I think he's too athletic, too dynamic for a fighter like Miller, and he has the ability to keep it standing. I think he's going to wear the damage and stay in better conditioning as the fight goes on, if it goes longer. And if either guy can get top position here, they can finish. Miller has a puncher's chance on the feet, and then he obviously has probably the wrestling advantage. So he is live, but I think Ryan Gondra is going to find the chin of Trent Miller in the first round and knock him out. So this is going to be an all-violence card for me, in my opinion, I feel like, and I'm going to go with Ryan Gondra to close out the night with the first round knockout. So there you have it, guys. That's the full card predictions for me. So just to recap, I got Dante Johnson first round knockout, Christian Perez decision, Yakayev submission in the first round, Marcial Barbosa first round knockout, and Ryan Gondra first round knockout. So I like the under in a lot of these fights, even though they're a little juiced. I think that it's going to go that way. Christian Perez is the one underdog that I kind of like on this card and potentially the over in that fight. And, yeah, man, I think it's going to be a fun card to watch from an action perspective, and probably people are going to get contracts, but they could be fades once they get into the UFC. So, talent-wise, I'm not sure this is the best Dana White Contender Series week we got on the docket, but the fights are going to be fun to watch, and I'm excited for it. So, thanks for watching, guys. Hit the like button on this video. Comment down below. Subscribe if you're not subscribed. And hit up Patreon, man. Let's get some more Patreon subscribers and help build the channel. And besides that, man, I'm going to be back soon with another fight breakdown and predictions video. And me and Fitz might be doing a live stream for Tuesday. It's not locked in yet, but we could be doing it. So if we do, catch us on there too. And besides that, guys, I'll be back soon. Peace out.